Hello and welcome to another Overlord lore video. I'm Shergog, your host, and today we are going to take a closer look at the power scaling of the world of Overlord. But before we are going to do so, let me quickly thank my Patreons for supporting this channel, as well as all users of the YouTube thanks function for making one-time donations. And now with that said, let's start with the video at hand. And we will take a look at some of the weakest possible creatures, no, not climb, right at the start. Namely the average human peasant. Humans are, in terms of the New World, too weak to even survive without aid. Because without the aid of the theocracy and its day-affected items and godkins, mankind would be wiped off the face of this world sooner or later. A normal human can only survive in the flatlands and plains, since the primeval forests are dangerous, so are the mountains, the swamplands, and the sea. And the level 1 peasant is basically the equivalent to our own humans. They are physically fit, and can for example defeat a goblin in a 1v1 battle in almost any case, but these creatures rarely come in units of just one. In many aspects, goblins are even superior to humans, since the high birth rates offsets their loss of life, and since they have keener senses and can even see in low-light environments, so they can survive where humans just can't. Next we have a normal human soldier with a level of 3. He can defend himself against a couple of goblins and defeat most humans in a direct battle, since most humans are again just peasants. But again, he's nothing remarkable. The Knights of Baharut, in contrast to just a normal human soldier, have a level of 10 to 15, all depending on which specific legion you are looking at. But thanks to their better equipment, their magical support, their air guard, and again their combat mages, not to mention their cavalry, these conventional soldiers are strong enough to easily defeat 5 times their number. If the enemy, for example, just fields the peasant soldiers in great numbers, which is common in the Kingdom of Freest Ties. This is also very common to contact with the first supernatural elements of Overlord, because while goblins with night visions or human peasant soldiers with wooden spears are doable in our world, some of the Imperial Knights have martial arts to increase their speed, their strength, unleash shockwaves with their fist, and so on and so forth. Not to mention that mages and casters are also there to begin with, and one Imperial Legion of 10,000 men would be enough to conquer a small nation, and 6 enough to defeat the Kingdom of Freest Ties in full force, and then conquer a heavily fortified city right after defeating them in an open field battle. And while Climb, who is the equivalent of a gold-ranked adventurer, or otherwise is capped at level 20, could defeat quite a few Knights of Baharut, he himself would likely not stand a chance against any of the 4 Imperial Knights or Sarayuru Sasha, while both would not win against Gazev Stronov, who is rather somewhere in his high 20s level-wise, and could enter the realm of heroes or level 30 with his wild magic ring. And he would also be an adamantite ranked adventurer if he would have become one. And that's where we slip into the realm of heroes, for while all of these men are formidable, there exist powers that all on their own could conquer minor and major nations if they play their cards right, or at least destroy them. And the Death Knight, an undead warrior, is one such case. He is able to create squire zombies from fallen enemies, and these squire zombies could in turn create an unlimited amount of normal zombies. The Death Knight itself is level 35, and wields the defense of a level 40 being, while only being as strong as a level 25 being on the offense. But it's not to say that it can't be defeated by New Worlders, since Fluda Paradane the Triad Wizard, together with his people, was able to pepper the Death Knight with fireball spells until it collapsed, because it lacked ranged attacks. And these abilities apply across the board. Each being of the level of 30 might be a real hero in any nation, and based solely on their own strength could achieve a high position in the military or government if they are not outright ruling the place. And if one being of level 30 is so dangerous, imagine what a bunch of them could do. This is the Black Scripture on its own. This force alone is strong enough to topple basically any country in the region if they so wish, but their main role is to take on dangerous and nearly undefeatable enemies that would and likely will sooner or later attack and maybe wipe out any human nation and defeat them first. For example, defeating Overlord Powerscaling, if he and his family had tried to attack the kingdom or the empire, would be something they would be able to do. But in a direct 1v1 against the Frost Dragon, every single one except the captain and the extra seat of the Black Scripture would lose to the Frost Dragon Overlord. So if he wasn't busy fighting ice giants, he could subjugate the empire or the kingdom for a while, before slaying acts, or outright dominate a non-human nation for as long as he wishes. And the Frost Dragon Overlord did just that with the Quagoa, the Mole people, who were on the verge of conquering the entirety of the dwarves and establish themselves as a settled civilization. Overlord could also have saved the Dragon Kingdom, or defeated the Beastman nation if he had so wished. And even the empire and the kingdom combined would likely be unable to defeat him alone, since his battle with Illislim, one of his concubines, was so devastating that it destroyed an entire dwarven city. Now the next big leap in strength is a small one. The weakest of the Pleiades battlemates, Shizu Delta, has just one additional level compared to the Frost Dragon Overlord. But her equipment and her character build are flawless. She is one of the best and strongest possible builds at this level, meaning she's min-maxed for offensive power, and Shizu is the way she is because she had been artificially created by players with nothing but combat in mind. Therefore, these NPCs of Nezwick hold the distinct advantage of basically being flawless, while people like, for example, the New Worlder Brain Anglaus can't pull off min-maxing as effectively because people in the New World also need other classes, like cooking, that are not even relevant to combat. So Shizu Delta had been created for battle and battle alone. There are no other classes polluting her skill tree and her level tree. And with her equipment, she becomes even more deadly. With her spellgun, she can kill most targets at great range, and her scarf, an item of the highest tier, is able to completely conceal her, making her unspotable, even by at least my estimation, members of the Black Scripture. This also earned her the nickname of the Sneak and Charge Maid. In the world of Overlord, she could probably assassinate 9.999999 million out of 10 million people. And she again is the Pleiades with the lowest level. And somewhere in this realm of strength, the Night Liches of Corpus of the Abyss would also likely fall. The reason why they haven't carved out small kingdom of their own is just because they wanted to avoid attention and learn more about magic, and they reached the 8th and sometimes even the 9th tier of magic. And the only reason the other liches have only small nations, despite being powerful night liches, is that they don't want the attention that comes with having, or rather carving out, a large nation from the surrounding smaller ones. Platinum Dragonlord might intervene. And next in line, we find the strongest of the Pleiades, Naber al-Gamma, She can fight off 2 buffed skeletal dragons or nothing more than her comparatively weak physical stats alone. Nabral Gamma should also, especially with her gear, reach the realm of the Godkins. The Godkins trace their ancestry back to the players themselves and really only have to fear other Godkins and NPCs and the true Dragonlords of the world. But even Decam Hugin, the Elf King, was able to defeat dragons and perhaps even some weaker Dragonlords, based solely on his own strength and equipment, before being beaten by Zeshi Zetsumai, and the only 2 people that could defeat the Captain of the Black Scripture, someone who is confirmed stronger than Solution Epsilon, had been thus far Sheltier and Zeshi. And this is probably the level of most Dragonlords. See, despite having lost their war against the 8 Great Kings, not all Dragonlords took part in the fighting and perished. And these numbers of survivors include any of the 5 Dragon Counselors of Arkland, and while Platinum plays in a league of his own, most of the Dragonlords are likely in their 60s or 70s level-wise. At this point, you don't rule a state as much as advise it. You are actually wanted to lend your strength and power, not as the king's greatest warrior or court magician, like Fluda Paradane or Gazav Stronov are, but you are asked to make policies and share your wisdom with the state. Arkland, in turn, is a state where people of all living species can learn wild magic from the Dragonlords, which is the normal magic of the world before the arrival of players and the magic system from Yggdrasil Online. So by teaching the inhabitants of Arkland, the 5 Dragon Counselors are also indirectly shaping the world and its magic system, so their influence goes far above mere power. Next in line, we have the strongest of the Dragonlords. Think of Cure Elim Los Malvar or Platinum Dragonlord. Their power, knowledge and influence means that they not only can rule and set up multiple strong nations and organizations, but they also have very powerful followers themselves. In Platinum's case, he assembled likely the 13 heroes, and he has also maintained a friendship to Azud Aindra, who piloted the Red Battlesuit, the so-called Armor of Reinforcement, and Cure Elim Los Malvar controls and exploits the powerful Corpus of the Abyss for magical research and knowledge. And at this point, your power is great enough to fight interdimensional invaders. And this is often forgotten that from the Dragonlord's perspective, the story of Overlord is downright Lovecraftian. After a failed summoning ritual, not only was their own wild magic tainted, twisted, and harder to use, but interdimensional invaders from a place far beyond your own understanding began arriving at the New World for centuries on end. After an apocalyptic war, the Dragonlords only ended up in charge, like vaguely in charge of this new world, as in Platinum can crush you if you misbehave too much, because the 8 Great Kings who won the war with the Dragonlords for supremacy fell victim to their own infighting and civil war. And be it Cure Elim, Platinum, or indeed Deep Darkness Dragonlord, all have fought with these strange alien invaders over, among other things, the world-class items, which to the Dragonlords seem to be crystallized wild magic. And finally we arrive at players themselves. Since it was easy to reach level 100, and since the true endgame began once you reached it and went on to raids and acquired bigger and better items, optimized your character build, and formed guilds, the players are likely some of the strongest level 100 beings that can possibly even exist. And we only know of 2 players, those who joined the 13 heroes, who are more or less confirmed to be under the level of 100. In case of the 6 great gods, the 8 Greek kings, the Minotaur sage, and of course Ainz Ooal Gown, they sound like they are level 100 or at least very close to the top. And of course, Ainz Ooal Gown is confirmed to be level 100, and so are Sebastian, Albedo, Demiurge, Aura, Mare, Sheltier, Cocytus and many more. Together with high-level beings, such as the Hanzos or the Evil Lords, the entirety of the Great Tomb of Nezarec is an apocalyptic nightmare, even for Platinum, and it's waiting to be unleashed onto the new world. And with that said, I hope you liked my video on the power scaling of the new world in Overlord. And now it's your turn. Please let me know your thoughts and ideas about this topic and this video itself down in the comment section. And while you do this, I say my special thanks to Arder Daddy Arder, ASK, Bad Guy Ye, Bad Burrito 316, Beezer, Ben C, Brandon D, Chrissy, Crowley 0221, Sia, Crystal Prime, Dead Slime, Death is Mercy, Deathless Dragonlord, Demon Xenomorph 1987, Devin Downen, Ding Dong, Dragonlord Placido Saxophone, Duckwagon, Dunkler Krieger, Dystopia, Dystopia II, Enigmatic Unicorn, Thirashivan, Guy with That Hat, Hector Marino, Hoss, Haster, Jacob G, Jana B, Jason, J. Morris, Chromius, Kyle R, Lee K. Long, Legendarius, Lelouch Britannia with a Mustache, Lexus Fox, Lord Nishikian Rai, Lord Touch Me, Loverazor, Mervek, Mr. Shoes, Mr. Tweaker, Michael R, Michael Y, Nope, Oh Hell No, Normal Toad, Okill, Overlord General Gasper, Paddy Pantum, Personage, Primus 11, Rhinomere, Q&A Caracos P, Shergox's Daddy, Shadow Lightning Wolf, Shrine Keeper, Super Tier Magic Batista Bomb, Supreme Cheese, Staris, Ted, Texas Deer, The Orc Warboss, Rocket Smasher, T.E. Wang, Vash Hawkeye, Vegito27, Venture Fanatic, Wilhelm, Xenokai, and Zonegon. Thanks guys. Anyway, have a nice day, and I hope to see you all again soon on my next video.